It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Force. I'm David Cottingham, here with my co-host, Cory Cooley.
Good day, everyone.
And inside the studio also is Master Cory Cooley.
Hi.
And we are actually continuing the conversation from CooCast, episode 31.
Yes.
We just finished recording it, and we're just...
Yeah.
So this is actually the second part. So if you want to know what we're talking about more of, then you have to listen to the CooCast. So go to CooCastPodcast.com and check that out. But this is going to be kind of a normal Inside the Force, but we hinted out last week that we're starting Systems Month. We're going to be talking about a lot of systems, but in conjunction with that, we're doing a mashup with CooCast.
Hi.
Master Coo.
Yeah, you guys get the most like the random cut-ins from me.
Yeah, I know.
Shut the. We're trying to talk about.
Yeah, well now just say our episodes don't have the explicit sign on them.
That's right.
You're right. Okay,
So,
I will cut it out.
Yeah,
I will.
We're
look it up.
We're Star Wars rated. We're
I'll look it
PG-13. We're PG-13.
Kids
Got
listen
it.
to the show. Man.
No.
I'll just use the R2 sound.
That is awesome. Please do. Now I'm just going to be worse now because I just want to talk or the Chewbacca.
Yeah. But what we're talking about, the majority of this month also is Star Wars the card game, which we have talked about a lot.
Yes.
Of kind of.
Yeah.
Some very much, but we're going really into detail about the card game. We're going to continue that conversation right now before we kind of get into profiling a planet that we're going to do. The first one we're going to do this week is Dantooine. And then we'll report on some news, normal.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about some news.
Quite
Get
a bit.
Corey's opinion on some news. Finish up with some trivia. And
I
then,
matter.
It's the first time I've been on the show.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Our second
That's
guest
true.
overall.
That's right, yeah. Chad's been on here. Yeah, that's right. Master Coo.
Groovy.
Okay, so what we've been talking about on CooCast is we kind of did a big overview, right, of the card game.
We gave I would say a pretty decent explanation, kind of just a really basic, not even like class 101, like the intro to the class, you know what I mean? Like it would like get your syllabuses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a necessary because we don't want to. I tend to overdo it and put too much info and it's just overzealous. But anyways, yes.
But I think we what we did was we kind of brushed over, that there's 6 affiliations, kind of the gameplay a little bit, kind of went into some battles here and there, some cards. So what else do we need to talk about the beginnings of the game, about getting into, because we did talk about the history of some card games, how you found this, how you kind of got us into it. But now let's dive a little bit more into the actual gaming of it. For example, like say I'm the Jedis. Let's just say, for example, actually let's preview. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is the next 3 weeks we're going to dive into the affiliations. There's 6 affiliations.
Okay.
3 on the dark side, 3 on the light side. The next 3 weeks, we're going to dive into a week. So next week, we're going to dive into the Imperial Navy on the dark side and then the Jedis of the light side. And what's going to happen is you guys are actually, as in Corey and Casey, you actually are going to play that match.
Right.
Because that's, technically you said that's kind of your favorite affiliation.
Favorite, absolutely.
The Imperial Navy.
Yeah. Jedis might be mine. I'll have to see.
Yes.
I want to try them out.
But that'll be a good match. So what we'll do is next week's podcast on both CooCast and Inside the Force, on CooCast more so, we'll dive into the Imperial Navy, talk about what your strategies were, what the cards you had were. Casey on Inside the Force, all 3 of us will be on that as well. We'll get into the Jedis, what your strategies were, blah, blah, blah. So let's preview. Let's kind of get into that a little bit, that gameplay. So let's just say there's a Navy deck out there, there's a Jedi deck out there. the first thing that happens is you are the dark side goes first.
Right.
They always take the first turn. Both teams kind of pull their objectives. They each get 3 and kind of lay it in front of them.
Yeah.
You have, actually, you draw 4.
Draw 4, discard 1.
You discard 1.
Well,
you get
put
to
the bottom
pick.
of the deck, sorry.
Right, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, bottom of the deck.
Bottom of your objective deck.
Correct.
Because you have objective deck and you have a command deck.
Right.
So then you picked the 3 you want.
Mm-hmm.
You flip them over, and they each resolve, which means if they have an ability, then you do the ability at that point.
Yeah.
The light side then turns over his or her objectives, and then you start the game, and the dark side goes first.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cory, kind of talk about what do you do during your first turn?
Well, it's a little different first turns because first, obviously, there's not any. The game's just starting. You just kind of set up a little bit. So, for your balance phase, you don't really do because it starts out on the light side of the tablet. We're calling it a tablet or whatever. So it starts out on the light side, which means that normally the other side would be the dark side if I would win the struggle, and I would click it up too. But my turn, I click it up once, the Death Star dial that is, and then I draw phase. And your draw phase on you can mulligan your first time around. If you don't like your cards, you have to get rid of all of them. You can't do like a certain certain amount.
Yeah.
But even before that, I mean, I kind of skip refresh. My bad. Just because I normally do anyways, because you don't refresh on your first turn.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's just kind of you just basically go straight
what
to draw
refreshing
phase.
is removing tokens and shields off your cards every time you refresh. And basically, I forgot to mention your turn consists of 6 phases.
Right.
So there's a card when you choose your affiliation. Like for example, if I'm a Jedi affiliation. I have the Jedi card that's on my play area, and it has a phase sequence on there. So there's 6 phases, and basically you have to go from 1 to 6. Mm-hmm. And that's how you take your turn. Yeah, there's 6 steps basically to your turn. You have to do one at a time. That's how you take your turn, and then you alternate, and then
exactly. That's always good to have out because I pulled mine out because I was like
absolutely.
So
certain ones, the first turn you don't do because
right, exactly. So I'm just balance is kind of irrelevant because it goes up once. The dial goes up once anyways. On your first turn, I'm saying it's irrelevant, and then refresh. Exactly what it sounds like. I mean, you're refreshing your resources you have, like what you mentioned earlier, and we'll go in more detail. But we mentioned in CooCast, just kind of ready to go again. Everybody's ready to be ready. Units ready to be focused, ready to battle. Then my draw phase. Say if I don't like the cards I have, maybe there's like 1 or 2 cards that I'm like, ooh, this, and this is really when for me is my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of the game is your first. In any card game, is your first draw, and you get those cards, and you see what you got, and in your head, from where you built your deck, you have your plans, like your plan A, plan B, plan C, and like, okay, I have this in here for this, I can do this. If this doesn't work, I can do this, and if I need to do this, I have to get rid of, blah 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 blah. And this is kind of initially where I'm looking at my cards, and I'm like, maybe that's plan C. Like I could do that. I can do that. And you're really trying to think. Like you mentioned earlier. We'll say because you mentioned in CooCast about chess,
right?
Because you said it was, a real strategic game, and you're got to be 3 or 4 times ahead sometimes, trying to think what your opponent's doing. So that's why I like the draw phase, and then after draw phase, you have your deployment, and your deployment. I mean, you're just laying down your cards. I like to do enhancements first. Just because it's just weird OCD step in my head. I do kind of the enhancements first, and then I go through my units and lay what I want to lay down, provided that I have enough resources.
Correct.
And sometimes I keep cards because we mentioned also about the edge battle. But do you want to go ahead and go in? Because I feel like
well, we'll get there.
Okay.
I want to go through your turn, and then Casey will kind of go through his turn,
and then. So I'm keeping what I need to keep, I feel like, to win certain edge battles. And, okay, I don't really need this, but I don't want to get rid of it because it has a lot of force icons. So, yeah. And then, so after your deployment phase, my first turn, there is no conflict because I have no one to declare that. It would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
So you just skip your conflict phase. And then force phase, why not flip it? I mean,
Well, you have to, or else they deal damage.
Exactly.
To you.
I mean, so commit who you want to. I mean,
the worst part is that's the thing. Is the worst part is if for some reason you don't draw any units your first hand, there's no way you can flip it.
Right, and it stays light side, and then they get to do
damage.
Okay, so that would be my first turn.
So that's the first turn. So then Casey would then take his turn.
My first turn, right? So
your first turn.
Yeah. Again, I would balance. Can't do anything about the balance because if Cory had put the basically light dark side has the balance of the force on the dark side, I can't change it my first turn.
Well, no, if it was on the light side, you could have flicked.
Sure,
you would be able to flick damage.
If he flipped it on his turn. If he committed his characters,
so say I didn't flip it, and it's on the light side.
If it's on the light side, then I will get to inflict 1 damage to one of Cory's objectives.
That's right.
Free damage, basically, which is awesome.
And you get to pick.
Yeah, I get to pick. It's the coolest thing. Then refresh. I don't get to refresh anything, so I get to draw my hand, draw the 6 cards, get the units, and then I get to then I'll just play whatever I can. Like basically, it just depends on the affiliation too. What kind of strategy it is. Like if it's the Jedi, like I'll put down whoever it is, and I'll see. I don't know if it sometimes it depends if you want to attack your first turn. If you don't want to attack your first turn, because with the light side, it is kind of important to start attacking and destroying objectives, but you also don't want. Yeah. You also want to have the force in your favor. So there is a struggle there. So basically, you lay down units if you want to, enhancements exactly like the dark side did. Enhancements, units, and then that's the end of your deployment phase. And then now begins a conflict phase if you want to conflict the opponent. You can. Then there's action windows. We haven't really talked about action windows much at all,
not yet.
But there's an action window where you can lay down a certain card, which will maybe give you an advantage. And then
basically after every main phase and different declare attackers, then there's like a window, different. Whenever it switches to someone else doing something, you know what I mean? Which real quick, I wanted to throw out there. I feel like we've kind of skipped over his reserve value.
Right.
You got six cards, and it says it on your affiliation. It says starting reserve 6. And
every affiliation has 6.
Right. There are some cards that raise it and lower it to do certain things. So anyways, but yes.
Yeah, so I kind of breeze through these things here, but you had your draw phase, and then your deployment phase, which is where you put down your units and your enhancements. And then the conflict state phase, if I have the upper hand, I'll do a conflict if I'm guaranteed I can do some good damage to an objective. So if it's possible for me to destroy an objective in one turn, in one engagement, or if I can do a significant amount of damage, then I will probably engage that objective and then do it. And if I'm able to do it 3 different times, and it just depends on what cards you draw. So if I draw good cards that can do some damage, then I will engage the dark side in that turn. If not, if I can't do any damage, but I lay down some units that have the ability to flip the struggle of the force in my favor, then I won't engage, and so I will just instead keep my units down, commit them to the force, and then flip the force struggle tablet if I have the upper hand.
Right. And then that would be your turn. A couple things I want to clear up there. So it really depends strategy-wise on the light side's first turn, whether or not it's in the dark side or the light side. Because more than likely, being your first turn, you're not going to be able to lay down a lot of units.
Right.
More than likely, you're only able to lay down 1, possibly 2. But if you can lay down 2, more than likely they don't have the ability to do a lot of damage. They're low cost units, so they probably don't have a lot of capability. So basically, also I wanted to mention maybe something we failed to do on CooCast. There's basically, in your command deck, which is the deck you draw from, there's basically 3 types of cards. There's units, there's enhancements, and then there's event cards. Event cards are basically how they describe it as strategic ability cards that could help you. More than likely, they help you in essence, or prevent your opponent from doing something. Now, there's different what they call traits or abilities of an event card. For example, there could be an action, there could be an interrupt, there could be a reaction, there could be just simple I think that's about it. Action reactions and interrupts are basically the
forced
reactions and stuff like that. So event cards you can play. You can play an action during action windows. You can play other event cards really at any time, but they're always triggered by what's called. They're always triggered by an action or an event or a condition that happens. I was looking through here, for example. There's an event card here that says it's in the Rebel affiliation, and it has the action: return a target unit you control to your hand.
Right.
So, like,
we could really sit there if we can dissect that sentence.
Absolutely,
if we went to real quick.
Basically, for example, if you were in a battle, and right when you were about to inflict damage.
Sure.
You can play an event card saying, I'm going to return my unit to my hand, preventing you to inflict damage.
After I declare my attackers, you're saying there's an action window.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Actually, there's an action window after the edge battle resolves.
Okay.
So before you actually focus somebody to strike, Casey could possibly lay this card down and say, I want to take him out of the battle.
Right.
So you don't kill him in a sense.
Which you're almost if you have no other, and now they're called participating units.
That's right.
And if you have no say if I have 2 attackers and you do that and you pull, and when it says target unit, all it means is you get to target it. It doesn't.
You get to pick.
You get to choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll get into the battle here more in depth in a second because I want to. So let me finish the cards.
I was going to get into unopposed.
Yeah, well, I want to do. The next
Okay.
thing I want to do is have you guys get involved in a edge battle.
Okay,
A mental battle.
A mental edge battle. So the other card I wanted to mention is, like you said, enhancements.
Yes.
There are enhancements to, like what you said. There's enhancements to your play area, which means, for example, you can lay an enhancement down that adds more resources for you to pull from. And also, there's one really awesome one in Scum and Villainy. It's Jabba's Palace. And what that does is it increases your damage of each objective by 1. So each objective is 6.
Oh, so it's the damage capacity
is up increased. So and that cannot really go away. Now there's other enhancement cards your opponent can play that possibly get rid of it, but it doesn't have a damage unit on it. So
it has to say destroy, like target enhancement.
Exactly.
Right?
So and then there's enhancements to actual units. For example, Boba Fett has a great one. He has one personal one called Mandalorian Armor. Yeah. If you attach that enhancement to that unit, he gets +3 damage capacity, which means it takes 6 to I think it takes 5
for Boba Fett.
Yeah, he only has 2 right now. But then it also gives him what's called targeted strike, which means, like you said, you can basically pick anybody on the playfield. It doesn't have to be participating. It can be anybody.
Participating in the engagement. That's what I should have said.
Right. So anyway, there's enhancement cards, event cards, unit cards. These are the cards that you have to play, and you have to pay for them. Majority of them. Yeah. You have to pay for them out of your hand in order to use them. So that's basically the cards now. So each player has gone. You went your first turn. Now it's back on the dark side. Let's just go back to the dark side. And then once you go into quickly what you would do, getting into the conflict and then declaring your attackers.
So by now I have a decent idea of how this is getting ready to go down because, not to the full length of the extent, but at least the first 2 or 3 turns, because it can be as quick as Magic sometimes, but what you have in your hand, you pretty much have in your hand until the edge battle, basically. If you decide to spin all of them, or usually on the first turn, that's part of the dark side. I have that luxury of sometimes saying, come at me, you know what I mean? Just because for future advancements, because I feel like that's what was the kind of the understanding in I would say the first 3, but you know what I mean, the 4, 5, and 6 is that the dark side and they were a little better off than the rebels will. So I'm trying to play into that where I was like, it's okay, I'll let you guys attack a little bit, and I'll hold off because I can take that ping because it just depends really. But it depends. If I have, it depends on what I got. Say my first turn I had. Say the balance. Okay, we'll just go through balance phase.
Let's just say for the sake of it,
Sure.
Casey changed it to the light side.
Okay.
Because he did not attack, so he changed it to the light side.
So I can't. I just goes up 1.
That's right.
Whereas, it's tempting with the dark side just to relax and chill, but I like to go after. I like that going after objectives and because it's just kind of hitting you on 2 fronts, and whereas you're just going towards objectives, the light side, but before you know it, 2 objectives are done in 1 turn. So I mean, they both have their pros and cons.
Well, have we even talked about what happens when the dark side destroys an objective?
Not
briefly, but I'll roll into that. So my refresh phase, I get rid of everybody's ready to go. If they were exhausted, which is when I focus someone. When say if I had the Emperor, I would say, okay, Emperor, I focus you to attack, and you put a little focus icon down there, token. At this refresh phase, I take all that off. Everybody's ready to go. I guess I can briefly get into, if they're committed, you have to put 1 additional focus token on there.
Right.
And then there is an ability called Elite where you take
some
off.
Of them have Elite.
Some of them have them. Elite where you can take off 2 at a time. But I digress. I go into my draw phase. Say I spent like 3 resources, or I laid down 3 cards. Now I can get rid of 1 card, which I normally don't like to do because I like to keep it for the edge battle.
Yeah, I mean, if it has no
right, if it's
focus
icons, if it's
icons, right?
Exactly. If I'm in dire need to get rid of it, I will. It sucks, but I'll get rid of it just so that I could draw 4 instead of 3 to reach my reserve value, or my reserve value of 6.
Right.
And after that, I have my deployment. Maybe this time I'll say I'm going to attack, so I need to win this edge battle because I would really like to have the upper hand to ping him first because it helps me in some way. We'll say at this point. So, I don't really deploy anything. I kind of hold it back because I'm like, I can get rid of that for I'm okay with basically sacrificing it, and I'll tell you why, because that's what you're kind of doing in an edge battle. After I declare my attackers, Casey will, if he doesn't have to, but say he does, we'll bring your card that you mentioned earlier into this, where you can return target unit to your hand or something, or whatever that was. Was that what the ability was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I say I have 2 attackers. Casey puts out his defender, and then the engagement. Well, before that, I have to choose an objective, of course.
Yeah.
I choose one of his objectives.
That you're attacking.
That I'm attacking. So then I declare attackers, he declares defenders, the engagement has officially started, and these are participating. They have to be, no matter what, they have to be focused to strike, even if some situation...
Even if no one has... you can't inflict damage on anybody.
So you are literally committing them to this engagement, and you can't pull it back and be like, this is an attack, I don't have to do it. So you have to do it, which is, once again, all checks and balances. I mean, these are committed, so I have to put 2 force tokens on it instead of 1. But so the edge battle is important to me. So I have in my hand, now this is something interesting that I'll throw out there. Maybe we can actually talk about how much we hate these cards later on. Twist of Fate cards.
Oh yeah,
they're just a certain now. Within an edge battle, there is a specific card that you only really matters during the edge battle, which are fate cards. And these fate cards are resolved, and resolved basically is just when you do the action it says. I mean, to simplest terms, right? I mean, it's and they're judged by numbers. So say Dave or Casey has a 3 and I have a 4, his fate card would resolve before mine. But I won't go into crazy detail about it. So say I win this edge battle, and basically what I'm doing is I'm throwing these cards out there that it could be like a big, awesome card that is just powerful, but yet it has a lot of force icons on it, so I need it to win this edge battle. Because we mentioned in CooCast, I think we mentioned earlier that it depends on those to win. So say I win the edge battle. and I had to basically sacrifice those cards. Say after the edge battle, Casey, you do that that card that Dave mentioned earlier, and you bring that back, and technically I am unopposed, which I get an extra damage, basically one extra damage, blast damage. After the engagement, after I hit you with whatever I can hit you. I won't go into what the icons are in the card yet, but so that's technically, that would be like a, not a very exciting battle, but I mean it's just a quick little kind of skirmish, and say I bring those guys back, I have nobody else to do a second engagement, so I'm basically just spit myself out. And
so are you saying, did you use all of your?
Yeah, I had two.
You can use as many as you want.
You can, but what you kind of did was, you took yours back, so a lot of my icons couldn't resolve. All I had was like 2 blast damage, so I was able to, the objective that I declared I was attacking, say I was able to damage that 2 because it was unopposed. I damage it 1 more, so that would be 3.
Yeah.
And
so you made me put my units back in my hand. Is that what you said?
Well, that's what I was saying for the sake of unopposed. Talking about unopposed. Yeah, that's what you did. And but in the event that I say I had damaged an objective, say it's later on in the game, and I've had damaged 1 objective already, and I clicked the Death Star dial up by 1. Now, if I kill another objective, and I say I have 2 in my, there's a victory pile. There's a where you take their objectives and put it above.
Just wherever, yeah.
Exactly. So, so if I have 2, it goes up 2. If I get another one and I have 3 over here, it goes up 3. Right. So you see consecutively it goes up. Yeah. So force phase.
That's where the advantage is of attacking as a dark side. You increase the Death Star faster.
Yeah. So there you go. And then force phase, I'm exhausted and I can't flip it, so it stays on light side.
Stays on light side.
Yeah.
So I guess then it'd be my turn. And since it's on since the force is in my favor, I get to deal another free damage to one of your objectives, Corey. Free. I choose it. So basically, what happened in your turn? You didn't destroy any of my units?
No, yeah. You don't.
You put them back in my hand.
Exactly. Yeah, just for the sake of unopposed and.
Right. So, and that's the thing too with force struggles. Since I didn't have any units in play, Corey still couldn't. He still didn't have anybody. Like if it's a tie, if the force struggle's a tie, it goes to the defending, whoever had it in their favor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So since it was my favor, and since it was a tie, it stayed in my favor.
Plus,
Corey couldn't flip it.
I couldn't flip it because my guys were exhausted and they didn't count towards the force struggle.
So now my turn, I will refresh and take away focus tokens. 1 focus token from each objective, from each resource I have, and because I don't have any units to remove focus from. So now. I was in I didn't even get in an edge battle with Corey, I guess, because he removed my people.
Oh, we had the edge battle, and then after you realized you had lost, that's when you played that event.
So I played some cards.
Sure.
So I have to draw. So my draw phase, however many cards I used in the edge battle, I just replenish my hand. So I have 6 cards in my hand. So now I have to basically put some more units back into play because I can put the same units back into play because they're in my hand now.
But interesting though, I have no cards right now because I spent them all in the edge battle. So
and all those guys are exhausted.
Exactly. So I am completely defenseless, but most of the time I know that going in. I'm like I'm okay with you. So I just wanted to. So it's kind of a weird thing to.
So I have to put hopefully down some units that have good objective damage capabilities. So I'll put down however many I can, probably. Hopefully they're really good cards. And I'll put them down. And then since I will automatically go unopposed, I will most likely attack with... I can probably... if I lay down good enough cards, I can probably destroy 1 objective in this 1 turn.
You could.
And that's probably what I would do if I had the right cards. So I would send in however many units I could, 2, 3, maybe just 1, honestly. If I had... what's one? Like the flight side cards that has 3 or 4, whatever.
If you had red 5
on a Jedi. And I have an enhancement which gave it an additional blast damage and an opposed, which is additional blast damage. So nasty, I can destroy 1 objective with 1 unit potentially.
Yeah.
So I will lay down probably 2 or 3 units, or 2 units probably. That's how many resources I have. Yeah. Attack with both of them probably and destroy 1 objective. and go in a pose. And then
see, that's interesting that you go that route because I like.
It just depends.
It's true. Yeah. That's true. Most of the time, I try to pepper, and I would go each time I would try to do as many objectives as I could.
See, that's the thing. Like, yeah, because
that's something. Because I mean,
because I need to destroy objectives faster than you can crank up that dial.
So you like to go after one objective at a time. You don't like to.
If I can destroy one,
if you can,
yeah, because I'm already like 1/3 on the way there.
True.
What would the Death Star dial be at this point? Like 3 or 4?
I think it's 3.
3. So you're at a 3 out of 12.
2, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I already have one objective destroyed. I need 2 more left. So I mean, it's pretty good. Right now.
That would have me sweating a little bit. I mean, but then also I would be happy because my next time around I'm golden, and then I could maybe even raise it up. I mean, it depends. It sucks because it's still on the light side, and if you're not careful and you don't pay attention to that, you know, I would like around the 5th or 6th. If I have you at bay, and if you've only destroyed one by turn 6 or 7 or so, I'm feeling okay. But there has been times when those damn rebels sneak up on you and shoot that. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Dang rebels sneak up on you and send that X-wing in on you.
Because there are some cards, we can get into the rebels, that could, I could attack the Death Star dial directly, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll talk about that when we get into the rebel deck. But since, I've used all my units to destroy an objective, they're all exhausted. Just put one focus token on them because they're not committed at this point. Mm-hmm. So I'm pulling back. And even though they are exhausted, if they have a lot of force icons on the card, and I will probably commit them. Go ahead and commit them. It won't count to this force struggle, but it still stay in my favor since it's a tie, or since Cory can't flip it. So, but I would only commit them if I know that I can actually get, I guess, the force advantage later on. Like if both my units only had like one force icon each, I probably wouldn't commit them.
Right.
Because I don't want to put 2 focus tokens on them.
Exactly.
In an engagement later on. So, but I just want to say that maybe they do have several force icons. Like maybe if I get 5 force points, I guess I would probably commit both those units.
Right.
And then that would be the end of my turn.
Cool. And the biggest thing to remember, which we haven't said, is when it's your turn, you can only engage one objective.
Correct.
There you go.
At a time.
Yeah.
You can. So that means basically you can attack 3 times.
Yeah.
That's what I meant earlier about
each objective one time.
That's what I meant earlier about peppering.
Right. And I'm with you because I have the strategy. If one objective has 3 damage on it, and I can inflict 5, or maybe just 4. Mm-hmm. I'm going for something else.
Yeah. That way,
so you don't throw away any damages. But that's right.
That's right. I mean,
it just depends.
It's not
You're right.
The strategy the whole entire time. Cause
I know it changes. I mean, like I said earlier, you have plan A, B, C, D. I mean, you try to make your deck as versatile as possible.
Yeah.
And that way, if anything comes up, I mean, you got to think like Batman in a way.
Yeah.
You got to have backup plans for your backup plans.
And there are those unlucky turns. Like if I destroy one of Cory's objectives, his turn, he would draw another one so he has 3 objectives there. Mm-hmm. What if that objective he drew had 4 damage? So that's a weaker objective. So and sometimes I would if I have the like let's say if my units, if I couldn't destroy an objective, but if I could do I would probably attack regardless, even if I dealt 2 or 3 damage. Mm-hmm. I would probably do a little bit
to get on the board.
Yeah, so I can do some work because I need to get some stuff in there as soon as I can, so I can win the game. But it just depends on strategy.
Absolutely.
In the hand.
And this is where it comes into just diving in and playing. I mean, lucky winner that wins the course. I will know. So
I haven't announced that yet on there.
Oh shit, that's right.
But if they listen to the first episode, they should have heard it. But go ahead.
But no, I was saying, just dive in. I mean, and just get your hands dirty with it. I mean, play wrong sometimes. I mean, it's going to happen. It's just that's the fun of it. Like there was a couple weeks where you were texting me and you were like, "Dude, we were playing all wrong," and I'm like, jeez."
I know, and I'll say that being
this is the time we know everything. It just kept
we do know we're getting there. But throughout the month, if you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/21network, there's going to be some videos on there that we're going to show of these matches that we're talking about. We're going to have these matches in the next couple weeks. We've already got one that we're putting up there this week. that shows the setup of the game, everything that you need to know, the layout, the play area, where your objectives go, where your tokens are, where the Death Star dial is, blah, blah, blah. We're going to lay that out for you, and then we're going to keep going and kind of show you more of the game so that you can get, basically the point is to get excited about it just as much as we are. And like what Cory said, at the end of this month, we are going to give away to a lucky listener a core set.
What?
Which basically contains 4 of the 6 full objectives. Not full in a sense where there's now additional cards, but the very first thing that came out, the core set, had 4 affiliations in it: the Sith, the Jedi, the Imperial Navy, and the Rebel Alliance. Since then, they have come out with an expansion pack where you can be Scum and Villainy and Smugglers and Spies. We have all the cards, so we can play all the affiliations. But anyway, that is where you can, and how you enter, and you may already be entered if you're listening. Follow us on Twitter at Inside the Force or at CooCast. Follow us, give us a comment on our iTunes channels, Inside the Force and CooCast, and then follow our new Twitter, our CooCast related Star Wars the card game. It is CooCast SWTCG, Star Wars the card game. CooCast Star Wars card game. Follow that. For every one you do, that's how many chances you are into the contest. There's some people out there, some people out there that have done all 5. So you're in 5 times. We will draw a winner at the end of the month and send you the core set. So basically, listen to this all month.
Yeah.
You get the core set, you're in. You know what you're doing. So
watch the videos too. All the content.
So we'll continue this conversation definitely next week as far as the game goes. I want to dive into kind of what we do on Inside the Force.
Yeah, can't forget.
So excited.
What we do.
So excited.
But what we do is, we're
So what you do.
we're highlighting.
Thank you.
We're profiling some planets this month.
Sorry.
And what we do in kind of conjunction with Star Wars the card game, we're going to pull an objective that basically the objectives have locales on them. From Dagobah, Yavin 4, basically original trilogy stuff. Death Star.
Even some obscure ones.
There
like
are.
Lord Mantel.
Yeah, Nar Shaddaa is one of them.
Yeah.
So one we're going to do this week, we're going to do Dantooine, which you've heard a couple times. Once during episode 4, when Princess Leia reveals the Rebel base being on Dantooine instead of actually on Yavin, and then that's been brought up in the Clone Wars a few times.
Yes.
So we're going to dive into that real quick, and then we'll catch you up on the Star Wars news that has come out. There's several
good
things.
Stuff, yeah.
So Dantooine, real fast, is a outer rim planet, outer rim territories. It is covered in grasslands, rivers, lakes, similar to Earth in a sense.
Yeah.
Very similar to Earth in a sense.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: it's a very, very, very historic planet, very old planet.
Fans of the KOTOR games would know this planet very well.
Yes, because a lot happened on that from there, and it stems back to what's called, which I actually did a little bit more history of, the Infinite Empire.
Yes,
which is basically the first organized government. Is what
it's the Rakatan people. And again, KOTOR games.
It's before, it's before the actual first Galactic Republic. There was this empire, and they were kind of
they're like fish-looking race.
Yeah, but they were kind of a bad race.
They were bad. Right? They were dark side users.
Correct.
Yeah, because they, like if you played KOTOR, you know that their big thing was the Starforged, which is this huge super weapon that can, not really a weapon, but it's like a space station, I guess, that would just mass produce ships, robots, anything with like lightning speed. It was an incredible piece of technology.
So what we're going to hit on mainly, because that's a lot of expanding universe stuff. We're kind of going to fast forward into Clone Wars and Galactic Civil War kind of stuff. So basically, the history of it, if you kind of stick with some of the expanded stuff. There was actually a secret Jedi Academy that was set up there, or what was called oh dang it, I had it right here.
An enclave.
Enclave.
But those are in the Old Republic.
Okay, yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. So
it wasn't secret though. It was during the KOTOR games.
Um,
maybe later on it became secret, but in the KOTOR games, that's where the Jedi Academy was first established. Or not first, but that's where it was established in the KOTOR games, was on Dantooine. But then it got abandoned, and I think it was repurposed, reused, probably in secret later on. But yeah, then it was abandoned, and that's when the Rebels used it, which we'll get into in a minute.
Okay. Well, I was just saying because it says a Jedi Enclave was assembled there, which is a secret academy.
Yeah.
So because it was still on, I mean, I'm sure there was still Coruscant in a sense.
Yeah.
Where the Jedi Temple was, the actual Jedi Temple. Because I mean, if you go back even further to where the comics are coming out now, where the birth of the dawn of the Jedi.
Right.
I mean, the original Jedi stuff happened on, I can't even remember the planet now, but that's the original stuff.
The planet's name was Nilekmus.
And that comic book,
right?
It was like something Prime.
Yes,
Rectus Prime.
Rectus Prime. Yeah, something like that.
Optimus? No.
Optimus. No.
But anyway,
I am Optimus Prime.
Get out of here, Optimus Prime.
But it was occupied by the Sith at one point, occupied by the Jedi at one point. Academies and stuff were there. Sometimes, like they were talking about the guy you're talking about from Old Republic stuff.
Malgus.
Yes, so he trained there actually a few times. I think so did Malik.
Yeah, well, like Revan and Malik both trained there.
Yes.
At some point.
So we're talking old, huh?
This is very old. Yeah.
Oh, we're talking. This is like 3,900 years.
Like
before.
Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers old, or okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if he went
or Larry King old.
But anyway, after all this history,
I'm not even gonna try to do Larry King impression.
And there is a race that lives on there. There's a race on there, the Dantooine. There's a race of human people that actually live there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after thousands of years of
that's interesting. You're saying that I mean, it's so weird that they look like us humans. I mean, that the fact that we have
the species,
physiology.
I've always found that
we share a common ancestor.
That's the shimmer.
So like a lot of Outer Rim territories, though, it kind of fell wayside to the Republic once the Republic became what it was 1,000 years basically before the Battle of Yavin. The government with all the senators and whatnot, the Outer Rim territories really became almost like the slums of the galaxy,
like a safe haven for all the scum and villainy.
Right. And most of the Outer Rim fell into Hutt space, occupied by the Hutts, controlled by the Hutts, basically the gangsters. So a lot of bounty hunters would be there and whatnot. Yeah. But so honestly, perfect place for secret bases if you were to fight against a galactic empire or whatnot. Right. So at one point there was, before then, let's get into what happened in the Clone Wars, because there was a race there.
Well, what I remember, it was. They kind of look weird too. Yeah, there was an episode, and we're talking about the 2D animated.
Yes,
version, the first Clone Wars show. That was like the mini or series, I guess, or maxi series, whatever you.
Before episode 3 came out.
Yeah, these are the episodes that were like 5 minutes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Those are actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the animation was the same. It did. But there was one episode that was super awesome with Mace Windu.
Right.
Gets somehow stranded on Dantooine. And
without his lightsaber.
He doesn't have a lightsaber. And he's surrounded by a huge army of battle droids. Super battle droids. There's like thousands of them. And it's in this like just big whatever field, arena, whatever. And there's like this machine that I think makes them, or just a machine that deploys them that's next to him too as well. And there's like this little tiny child, I guess, who's a native of that planet, just kind of watching them on the hillside.
Yes.
He sees Mace Windu just fighting. There's no words spoken. Mace Windu's just like, it's like the Matrix, like this, like just quick movements, like with the Force. He's destroying all of these battle droids. Like he's punching holes in them with the Force. Yeah. He'll rip them apart with the Force, or with his bare hands, but it's also with the Force behind it. And he kills all of them. He kills all the battle droids all by himself.
Even a big transport.
That's what the thing. The big transport thing that kind of holds and like. I think it's like it hits the ground and destroys the ground.
Like iRobot style.
Yeah.
But Will Smith
destroys it all.
Yeah. So Mace Windu it's awesome because it's a good episode to see the limits of the Force, or not the limits, limitless possibilities of the Force.
I remember one with Yoda. I think that's the one I remember where he like just
Yoda had some good episodes.
That wasn't on. That wasn't Dantooine, but that was
that was another one. That's what I'm saying. I remember.
Absolutely, that was the first episode of the Clone Wars.
Was it? Okay,
was Yoda. I think that was Felucia.
Yeah,
I think it was Felucia.
Right. But and then like at the end of that episode, Mace Windu just like Force jumps out of the mess and the debris, goes to that kid, I think, and just like acknowledges the kid and like it's like a friendly moment, and he walks away.
It was awesome.
Hey kid.
Yeah.
takes off his robe. Like thanks, mean. Yeah.
And the kid
thanks,
said,
Mace Windu.
Whoa.
What if I can't? What if I fail?
Why? No.
Would you just shut your whiny mouth and just do it? Like, get rid of the Smiths. You can do it. You are the one.
So again, Dantooine kind of these temples and areas there kind of lay dormant for a while.
Right.
Now, if you go back a couple months when we did Rebel Alliance month, we talked about the formation of the Rebel Alliance, which happens during the game, The Force Unleashed, where the people that we profiled, Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and Garm Bail Bliss,
right,
they formed and signed what was called the Corellian Treaty, which basically united their three planets, Corellia, Chantrilla, and Alderaan,
right,
which formed the Rebel Alliance. They used the crest of Galen Merrick, who ended up being a Star Killer, our good buddy Sam Witwer. Anyway, so anyway, the Rebel Alliance, and I don't know if we said this during this, but actually they established their first headquarters actually on Dantooine.
Yeah.
So Princess Leia, in a sense, wasn't lying.
No,
they weren't there currently, but that's where they were at some point.
Because you hear Moff talk about it too in episode 4, like. Well, the soldiers came like there were signs of a Rebel base, but it's long been abandoned.
Right. So this was before. This was right around that time. They established a base there. Eventually, they actually brought. What happened was they actually brought Vader there. They actually captured him as a prisoner in a sense, but Boba Fett actually. I guess was tracking some rebels and basically found the base and left a tracking device there, and then the rebels found it. That's why they abandoned Dantooine. They eventually found out that and honestly, I don't think the Empire actually knew. They just were afraid. Yeah. So they scattered.
So how did Vader get away? That's weird.
I don't know.
It is weird because it seems like to me it contradicts a little bit when Vader didn't. Apparently, when she says Dantooine, I guess Vader didn't know they had abandoned it.
Probably not.
But how did he?
But I don't
should have
know.
known anyways. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's expanding. It's sort of expanded universe, but it kind of fits.
He might not have known he went to Dantooine.
That's true. Yeah.
So either way, they took him there, and that's how Boba kind of found out that he was there, later tracking him. But then again, it seems like Boba didn't tell anybody. He just so anyway, they left, and that's when they ended up finding and going to Yavin. Was after Dantooine, and then so when Leia was pressed about it, she gave up Dantooine, thinking that he would possibly destroy that planet and not whatever. And everybody knows he turns and destroys Alderaan.
Yeah.
Let's not do anything rash here, okay? When I said Dantooine, I meant Yavin. I don't think you understood. I'm sorry. You're sorry. Let's just move past this. Kill Yavin. Not Alderaan.
It's a peaceful planet.
We're good now. Good.
So after that, I mean, Dantooine, there are. So basically, it was an abandoned rebel base, like it was portrayed. The Imperials do go check it out. It is abandoned, but it's there and it's still there. I think there are some expanded universe stuff post episode 6. Stories about after the Battle of Endor, under the New Republic and whatnot.
I'm sorry, I just had this thought of like them showing up to Dantooine, and it's like Kevin McAllister doing his like thinking like people are in like
there's a rebel base there. They're like in their AT-AT looking at it like they're here.
Yeah, they're rolling by like, and it's him just doing all these strings, or it's like Leia doing all these strings and stuff. I don't know why. I thought of that. Let's get out of here.
Gosh.
But there are stories of Mara Jade going there, but Mara Jade again
is New Jedi Order.
Yeah, it's expanded universe stuff. So
and there is one book I read is The New Jedi Academy, and we briefly talked about it, I think, when we were profiling Grand Moff Tarkin. There was that one commander who kind of fell in love with him.
Yes.
She was stationed out, and she didn't even know like when Moff
That's
Tarkin
right.
died or the Rebels even won or anything like that. So
Oh shoot! So
it's this commander,
That's
and
right.
that's weird.
she
That's kinda
comes. She has
sad.
like basically a prototype Death Star and filled with tons of resources. And she has Imperial class Star Destroyers.
So they were just like, you just go out there and you do.
Well, she was in charge of a certain part. She was in
Right.
charge of building like it was the mall installation.
Yes.
and it was that's a whole separate thing. You should listen to our episode. Was that 3, 4?
Tarkin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
I'll look it
Tarkin,
up.
we will
That's-
talk
that's-
about it.
that's-
But
that's right
they go,
where I
but this commander, this
lost it.
female commander, goes to Dantooine with her like AT-ATs and all of her men to basically just destroy. Well, there was some stuff. I think the rebels might have gone back there and done some stuff, or I think there were just some civilizations there. Period.
Yeah.
But she goes there and just wipes out everything that was living on that planet, pretty much, or where she was, like in the area.
That was episode 5.
Episode 5 was when
The first
profiled-
Grand Moff.
first Grand Moff. Yeah. So, yeah, Dantooine, very cool planet.
Yeah, and we profiled it. We wanted to profile it because there is an objective in the card game.
Yes.
It's a Rebel Alliance objective. Decoy at Dantooine is what it's called.
Oh, cool.
It produces 1 resource, 5 damage. It has an interrupt ability on it. And the interrupt ability reads, when an objective you control leaves play, decrease the Death Star dial by 1. So basically, if you have this objective out, along with 2 others, if the dark side were to destroy an objective, any one of them, the Death Star would go up 1 in a sense,
Yeah, cancel.
but actually it would cancel out.
See, here's the thing: is that an interrupt? Because if it destroyed that specific objective, would that effect happen?
I would say so.
Because you're destroying it. But see, now we're getting a very specifics of the game, like with that Chewbacca card. When you destroy the card, does the action happen before it's technically destroyed, or does it being destroyed cancel the effects?
An interrupt.
The
an
card
interrupt.
always trumps the like if it's ever the rules versus the card always wins, right? You always
If
do
the
the
card
text.
contradicts the text, the rule book, then the card wins. Yeah.
Right.
So, but the wording on that effect, it's an interrupt, is it right?
It is an interrupt.
And what does it say specifically, like to?
It says when
Yeah.
a objective leaves play.
Okay.
So that means, I think, it has to mean when it's damaged. So
Yeah.
I would say it includes this card just simply because it doesn't say when another objective
Right.
leaves play.
Right.
It says when an objective. So this is one of your objectives.
See, it comes
Yeah.
it comes
This
down to
is the
and
Exact words.
or you know what I mean?
You
It
have to go
comes
by the
down- yeah.
words, I think.
And that's
so
why
that's
I
why.
bring it up, because there's a lot of cards like that.
Absolutely.
Very
Absolutely.
specific. Like when you say, we talk about in CooCast, target units, participating units, destroy or damage. These are very specific words that you have to really
See, that's
consider.
why I'm trying to get. But like, if I were to look at that, like honestly, like, well, you know, you look at the words and try to dissect it too much, but I'm trying to dial it back a little bit,
Yeah.
and I completely agree. I mean, it says and
Yeah.
you know, you could. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could sit and argue, like,
You could.
but why? You know,
Yeah,
but
you really
yeah.
have to try to go by what the words
Exactly.
say and
Right.
and go
Try,
by
try
that.
to keep the golden rule in your mind. That's what I really need to.
And what's cool is that, you know, we had talked about how each objective comes with 5 cards that are associated with it. And the 5 cards are usually made up of unit enhancements and event cards. And what's cool is that, like I think we've kind of mentioned, they all kind of take the ability or
The essence.
description of what the place is, you
Yeah.
know, in a sense. Like if it's Dagobah, it's usually something to do with Dagobah. Like, for
Oh,
example,
yeah.
this is Dantooine, so what we know about Dantooine, like we just said, it's a secret base there. It's part of the Rebel Alliance and whatnot. So there's the unit. There's 2 units that are attached to it. One is a Wookiee navigator. He's a pretty strong unit.
So when he survives an engagement, or he could be played as a
Yeah, after he survives an engagement as an attacker, you may engage the same objective an additional time this phase. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. You have a rebel trooper who costs nothing, but he has 1 strike ability. But then you have an enhancement card, which is it's called False Lead. It's enhance an objective you control. So here's another interrupt goes along with this. When enhanced objective leaves play, decrease the Death Star by 1.
So that would mean it could possibly decrease by 2.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So see how it builds on each other, and that's pretty interesting. That's especially hearing you guys talk about kind of Dantooine and then going through it and then reading
exactly.
Is
and then you have that one we talked about, the fallback event card, and then the last one that it has is a New Hope event card. It's the action of this is each player, so it also affects your opponent. Chooses up to, you played this card, I think, Casey, on me.
3 units. Yeah.
Chooses up to 3 units he controls. Return all units not chosen to your hand.
Yeah,
that's a pretty high force count too, right?
Both.
How many force icons does it have?
It has 2.
Has 2? Oh, I thought it had like at least.
Yeah,
3.
there's not too many force icons in this objective.
Because it's
but,
rebel and whatnot. But
right.
But that's pretty neat, and I think I'm pretty sure I have that one. I do have that one in my. That's a good little out at some point to use. But if you want, do you want to? I mean, to get into the. Because you mentioned in the description about your strike icon, you did. I mean,
the icons.
Yeah. Do you want to? I mean, since you mentioned it, just real quick.
Yeah. The so each unit has what's called strike abilities, and there's 3 basically what they call combat icons.
Yes.
There is unit damage, which is signified by a blaster icon. There's what's called blast damage, which is damage, looks like a explosion. That's the damage you can do to an objective. And then there's actually a force icon. It's not damage necessarily.
Looks like a target.
But it looks like a target almost. It looks like the force icon kind of thing. But those are those abilities you use to place on cards to exhaust them. So you can prevent your opponent from using that card.
Now, are they focus icons or force icons?
They're focus icons.
focus
Is that what I'm saying?
You said force.
Okay, focus icons, yes.
But you use them to force. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, you use them to focus. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. I always say
I just did it again.
Focus
Okay,
icons and there are force icons or different things. Yeah.
There you go.
So, so basically when you focus a card to initiate those abilities, you can distribute those unit icons to units during an engagement. Then you use your blast damage to target your objective and whatnot.
We talked about or to resolve, just to do the ability what it says to just the action of it.
And some
one at a time,
yeah. And some units only have unit damage.
True.
Some units, like vehicles, mostly have blast damage. And then there's some big ones like Home One or the Devastator. They just have
nasty.
They just have a lot of damage. They can inflict a lot of damage at one time. Guys like Boba Fett have abilities, But then you have, like you said, like for example, you have someone like Emperor Palpatine, who's a very, very strong.
Yes.
But he has no unit damage.
Nope.
He has what can be 3 focus token icons, meaning basically he can exhaust 3 cards at one time and prevent your opponent from using those cards.
Is that targeted strike? Is that what he has?
No.
It's just, but he can't with focus icons.
Focus icons can be placed on any card, any unit card at any time.
Right.
Not participating or participating in an engagement. So that's the beauty of him.
He's got a lot of force icons on his
card. He
has
2 black ones and 1 white. Now there's a difference between black and white. Yeah. White is what's called edge enabled edge enabled, which means you have to win the edge battle in order to be able to use those abilities, those white icons.
Yeah.
If you don't win, you only have the black ones. So you'll see some cards that have black and white. Some cards, like Greedo, only has white, which means if you commit him, we'll get into him later. He is a horrible card.
There are some really bad cards. But you need those. Those
but that's the thing is Greedo, it matches who he is.
Exactly.
I mean, we did a whole podcast about Greedo, and it does match. He is not a reverend bounty hunter. He's kind of a
if he's
coward.
Got the upper hand, he'll
but he even has like 2 damage, right? 2.
He does.
If you hit him twice, he's dead.
That's right. So
or once.
It should be like
it should just be once. And
even if what does it say, like something that to do with Han shooting first?
Yeah, flip a coin.
Like
flip a coin.
If you're engaged with Han, you automatically lose.
That's funny.
Okay, so let's dive into some news. Whatever we got this week. What happened, Case? What we got?
News. Let me scroll through.
What?
Is there an echo in here?
I was like crazy.
Okay.
The abyss.
I'm go through here. I think there are some big ones. I'm gonna try to find real quick some of the lesser news. I guess.
Well, the big one I'll say the big one I was really surprised about was in October they are re-releasing all 6 movies on Blu-ray DVD combo.
Yeah.
Now, 2 years ago when it came out on Blu-ray, it was just Blu-rays. You couldn't get the DVD of those Blu-rays.
Oh, I see.
The DVDs were back in like 2006, I think was the last time we got them on DVD.
This is going to be expensive.
So yeah, now there's a combo pack. They're doing 2 packages, I think, trilogy, each trilogy.
2 separate? Or they've been packaged them together?
I don't know. I haven't seen together.
Let me see. I'll bring up the article here.
I've only seen 2 boxes. One with Yoda on it, one with Vader on it.
Yeah.
Prequel trilogy, original trilogy, re-release, DVD, Blu-ray combo. Now, as far as we know, there are no changes.
Yes. Therefore, I'm probably not going to buy it.
Right. But we don't know that for sure.
Right.
It may come out this month or
I heard Han
September.
Solo was going to have like some kind of like weird mohawk in this one.
Right. And then the other big one to me, in a way, is Celebration Anaheim. They're dropping the numerical description of the celebrations, which was announced and going to be in April.
The new what now?
You know how we went to Celebration 6?
Uh-huh.
Well, they're not calling it Celebration 7. They're just calling it Celebration Anaheim, wherever the location is.
Oh, okay.
So Celebration is going to be in Anaheim, California, April of 2015.
16th through the 19th.
16th to the 19th. You can advance your ticket sale. The advanced ticket sales start this week. Today, basically. If you're listening to this, it's Wednesday, right?
The 7th.
It is the 7th.
Well, that's why it's a Wednesday. 7th is a Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
So tomorrow, you guys get on the Star Wars Celebrations website.
StarWarsCelebration.com.
But you can go there now and look at the pricing information.
Correct.
And all that stuff. Which
it's about the same.
About the same, yeah. It's like what's it? 16th is a Wednesday, a Thursday. But like,
I'd have to wait.
It's like $60 to $75
Thursday
the range.
4 days, Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, you can get all 4 days for $140 or individually priced.
If I'm going
days.
to California, I'm going all 4
we're
days.
going. We're going.
I'm not doing no 3-day stuff.
Do what?
So if I'm going all the way to California, I'm going all 4 days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's Wednesday through.
That's what we did. What we did down there. Then we drove down.
We did the second time.
We just didn't.
We flew the first time.
Yeah, but I mean, we drove down on Thursday, I think, right? And then we went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday a little bit, but anyway, that's so you can buy tickets starting Wednesday.
It's a big commitment. That's 2 years. That's
a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
just think, it's a month before the episode 7 comes out.
Oh, that's huge. I didn't realize that.
That's what they do. See, that's the thing.
Oh, that's how it started out. Right?
Episodes 1 through 3 were a month before 1 through 3 came out. So what they did was they showed footage. Footage you never saw anywhere else. I was at the Celebration 3. I saw footage from episode 3 before it came out. I was like, yeah. And I saw on a digital projector. That was the first time they actually showed a digital movie up, and I was like, "Oh my!"
That's kind of like when the video game for Episode 3 came out. Me and my buddy Adam bought the Episode 3 game just so we can watch the video cut intercuts. I was like, "We're watching the movie."
Totally.
Go into Celebration, the last one, almost right after I got out of the military. I mean, it was sensory overload. And being there and just being like, well, I guess we'll go to this event. We'll just watch, a little bit of this. And all of a sudden, it's like, I got it. Like, I think me and Casey both screamed like little girl. I mean, we like...
What? When
Lucas came out, we were like...
I stood up and screamed.
We were both like jumping up and down.
And it was like an instant reaction. So like, if no one else stood up, I would have been the only one to stand up and scream.
Because there had been people walking around that. Like, there was one guy that looked just like him that was walking around. So, there was that... I mean, but it was like...
But he was not expected to show up either.
No, that's what you guys... Because there was like, could he? And then... Yeah, but that was... Whew, that gets my heart.
And now he doesn't own it anymore.
Oh, man.
But anyway, what else we got?
A little news: the Star Wars Battlefront game, the reboot of that franchise.
God, that was so awesome.
So there's a new one coming out. It's going to be released summer of 2015, which is kind of bad news because I want to play it now.
It's 2015. Are we just? I think I'm just going to end. I'm going to jump.
I know.
I'm going to do it after that. I mean, why? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
2016.
2016, exactly. That's my, I mean, seriously, it's crazy. But we used to just destroy. People used to get so. I mean, we used to legitimately piss people off. Like they would throw controllers and leave our house. Because
Battlefront,
because we would just
now.
I would just be Darth Maul. I mean, it just was done.
See, I played at Asbury. Well, when I this past semester. And there's guys that are really good. I lost a lot, and they lost a lot.
We're a little
Yeah,
rusty, but in our prime, man,
yeah,
it was.
dang.
I mean, you even as like Han Solo, like,
Yeah.
you would just
Yeah.
like super. You're like you're just you're just pissed off because it's like you come here, it's impossible.
So here we're gonna jump ahead to some recent episode 7 rumors that are coming out, and this is in regards to the production. It is said that they were probably gonna actually shoot sooner than we all thought. Actually,
Yes.
this month is when their rumor is that they're in Pinewood Studios right now. They've been working on pre-production for 3.5 months. So now it seems like that we're gonna get probably shooting in August of this year with because
in London.
in London, and it seems like that would be true because if
Hello,
they
Governor.
need to shoot all next year, then do pre.
You sound like you're from London. I love that line.
I'm Russell Brand. I don't know. I can't do it.
But,
I'll work on it. I swear.
So and that's the rumor that's going on right now. And actually, this is interesting. The production title, because a lot of movies shoot in kind of codename titles. Star Wars codename is Foodles Productions Limited (LTD),
Yeah.
which is some reference to some Disney merchandise thing. So that is that. And I guess the next piece of news, going to jump through here real quick.
This piece of evidence.
There's some other little things like let's see.
D23
D23 is coming up. We don't exactly. Hopefully there'll be some stuff there, but we don't quite know yet. That's I guess in a week and a half from now.
Right.
But screen
I'm
through.
sorry,
So this is another kind of big piece
D23
of,
real quick. What's that? D23.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's the Disney convention.
Okay, just because I don't know that. I didn't
It's
know
like
if I
the
was-
Comic-Con of Disney.
That's cool.
It's all their announcements, movie
Okay.
announcements, stuff like that. They're going to be talking about. Now, what were you about to say?
Sorry.
I was going to say it's okay. I was going to
some
talk
people
about the next kind of big piece of news. ABC
Yes.
executives. Oh, sorry, I hit my mic there. Sorry, guys. ABC executives are talking to basically Lucasfilm, which is kind of weird because it's Disney. I guess Disney's talking to Lucasfilm, but because ABC is owned by Disney. But
Yeah.
I feel like they don't need to really. Anyways,
I know, it's weird.
they're talking hopefully about creating some Star Wars TV shows
On ABC.
on ABC now.
Where S.H.I.E.L.D. lives.
Yeah.
The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And the rumor is that probably live action Star Wars show.
That's right.
Because earlier this year, ABC has said the same thing. Like, we know after the merger, they were saying like we are very interested in doing a live action TV show, basically. So they are in talks with Lucasfilm about doing Star Wars TV shows on ABC. And so that's So that's
Huge.
just kind of a little nugget there.
Do you know what? Well, I'll wait till you're done.
Oh, that's
with
basically-
news.
yeah, that was
that's
kind of the
basically
last
the
big
news.
piece of news, yeah.
You know what? Totally, and I kind of predicted this. I don't think it was a hard prediction. You know what? Totally has fallen definitely by the wayside. Star Wars detours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That I mean,
And
wasn't
to be
there news
honest,
about
look,
that?
we're I mean, you can see a lot of it online, but we're the fortunate ones. We saw the first reveal footage of that TV show that was coming apparently on Cartoon Network. The guys from the Robot Chicken, creators of Robot Chicken and Stupid Monkey, Matt Senreich and Seth Green.
Mm-hmm.
I was really looking forward to that show.
It looked really funny.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, they took down all the video for it, right?
Yeah, that's all gone now. So, if you weren't fortunate enough to see it, it was, and the animation was great. I mean, the animation
it was
looked
cool.
really good. So anyway, that's gone.
That's gone.
I don't
That's
think it's
gone.
going to be coming. I don't think anybody's going to see it.
No, it's
unfortunately,
out.
they worked
Let's do it.
years on that too. They were talking about that at Celebration 4 in 2007 when they first kind of talked about, hey, we're doing a comedic Star Wars series. Seth Green kind of revealed it then. That was 2007. We saw the footage in 2012, right?
Bummer, man.
Yeah.
Yes. 5 years. We saw the first glimpse of it, and then now it's gone. So anyway, unfortunately, that was that happened. So anyway, we'll wrap up this this first week. Yeah, Corey, grab that. You're going to be part of trivia. You got to do trivia with us.
Gosh. Okay. All right.
Before we wrap with trivia, we got to mention that this month of August, we're doing basically two things. We're doing Systems Month, where we're talking about certain systems. We just profiled Dantooine, but we are mashing up with CooCast on Mondays. So Mondays you're getting CooCast, basically part 1, and then part 2 is on Inside the Forest. And we're talking about Star Wars the card game. We're going to go even more in depth the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to start
per affiliation.
We're going to start expecting you guys to kind of hold up your end of the bargain and listen to these, watch the videos, and then we're going to start getting into some detailed, like you said.
Detailed cards, our favorite cards, our strategies. And like I said, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/21network to get videos of the gameplay. There should be one up. If it's not up now, it's It's coming up very, very soon. Kind of the setup of the layout of the play area and whatnot. So keep checking back. And like I said, we're giving away the card game core set. All you got to do is follow CooCast, follow Inside the Force, follow CooCast Star Wars the card game.
And if you have anything from here that you may need clearing up or
anything, questions,
obviously you can. I would tweet Star Wars. My Star Wars account.
Absolutely, tweet the CooCast SWTCG Star Wars the card game, and we'll answer them on here. Like I said, every follow you do, that's your chance to win more, and then we'll pull that at the end of the month. So we're gonna do trivia. Corey's gonna get involved, but right now our records: I'm 9-10. Casey's 11-8. He's got a 2 question advantage over me.
Pulling ahead.
Yeah, these questions are crazy.
These are tough. So
guessing a lot of them.
Go ahead.
All right. So this week's question.
Black out and answer it correctly.
This week's question is 1870.
See. Sorry.
Which will come from the Empire That Strikes Back era.
Okay, let's do this.
And here we go. 1870 question. Here's the question. Wow.
Shoot.
I don't even want to pronounce this wrong. How do you pronounce? Why don't you read it, Case? Yeah.
1870.
1870.
That's all right. Well, here we go. I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
What hermaphroditic Dagobah creature sucks up and consumes any organic material it comes across?
That's not a bad.
I don't know.
Things are. Did you say it again?
Hermaphroditic.
Hermaphroditic.
Yeah, but
creature. The whole question.
What hermaphroditic Dagobah creature sucks up and consumes any organic material it comes across? A, the dragon snake. B, the butcher bug. C, the Dagobah python.
Reserve.
D, the giant swamp slug.
Oh man, I'm going to have to go with slug. Usually with
any organic material it comes across.
Frogs. I was going to guess because if there was a frog option, I was going to because they sometimes are hermaphroditic. But I'm going to go name the options one more time for me.
The dragon snake.
No.
The butcher bug.
No.
The Dagobah python.
No.
The giant swamp slug.
Slug.
I'm going butcher bug.
I'm going slug.
You're going butcher bug?
Yeah.
You're going slug?
I'm definitely going slug.
I'm actually going slug as well. I'm going D. And I will, since you read it, I will go with Casey, and Casey's butcher bug is B, and here is B.
How does it know?
Incorrect. And the answer is D.
Yeah, good job, guys.
The giant swamp slug.
Biology.
All right, so that was trivia.
How did it know? That's weird. That's crazy. That's cool. I didn't know how it knew that.
How it knew?
What question?
Corey, it's the book called Obsessed with Star Wars. There's 2,500 questions.
Lower
It's got a little mechanical dial here that tells you what question it is.
It picks a question for you.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
And then it has A, B, C, D. It's all multiple choice.
Thought it read your mind.
No, we don't look up the answer. It tells you the answer.
That's cool, man.
All right, so I gained up one. I'm only one behind. I'm only one behind now. Are we ending that at 21?
That's what we talked about before we did the show. When we thought about it, I don't think we ever.
Well,
mentioned
we could be tied somehow because we could be.
Lightning round.
We'll just keep going with questions because there's 25, whatever, 100 or 1,000.
There's 2,500. Yeah,
so we can just keep going. If there's a tie, whoever
go ahead.
breaks it.
Shoot off 1,000. Go.
Yeah,
I'm ready. Go.
All right, so that's our show. Corey, thanks for getting on here. You're obviously going to be on here all month.
Yeah, I'm excited. My pleasure. I feel like it's like a cool camp over, and I'm just like, I'm getting kind of scared. I'm going to have to call Mom to come get me. Okay, I can do this.
Just don't turn out the lights.
Yeah. I got scared just a little bit.
All right, so that's episode 20. Like I said, check back next week. You got to listen to CooCast first. Yes. So you know what we're talking about inside the Force.
You do.
We are going to probably, since we're doing Jedi, we're going to profile Dagobah next week, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna profile the planet Dagobah. Would end up being Yoda's hideout, obviously. So we'll talk about that. We'll hit you up with some news. get you caught up on all the Star Wars stuff and get more in depth with Star Wars the card game.
Yep.
For Cory Cooley.
Oh, is that cool?
That's good.
For Casey Cooley.
You're far too trusting. Dantooine is too remote to make an effective demonstration. But don't worry, we'll deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
Very good.
I tried to throw in the rolled R's because he did that a lot.
Yes, he
rebel
does.
friends
Yeah, he
soon
does.
enough. Yeah.
All right, I'm David Cottingham. Real quick, Cory is at CooMasterCoo on Twitter. Casey's at Kryptonian1138. I am at DCottingham21. That is our show, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.